too. So please welcome Selina Gray.
Today I stand before you wanting to share how you too can transform your relationship with money and create one that's deeply personal and create it from a place of your own understanding. So I want you to come on a journey with me. I remember waking up and my body was trembling and there was this frantic team of people around me. And I tried to speak, but there was a mask and I could feel oxygen flowing through my body and my mind started racing. And the nurse leaned down and said, "Selina, you're having a blood transfusion. We've got you, girlie." And my mind immediately raced back to earlier in the day. It was a normal day. I was in excruciating pain, but that part was normal. But there was something new, this urgency, this fear, this lightheadedness that felt wrong. And so what I do, I hopped in my BMW, I rolled down the windows, I cranked Jay-Z, 99 pounds and a bitch ain't one, and boom. I woke up here. And later I learned that I had safely made it to the ER before collapsing. And so if you leave with nothing today, don't fucking drive to the ER passing out to potentially hit people. Like, I'm so grateful that I made it. But in all seriousness, that became a defining moment in my life. It was my awakening. I had had so many curveballs thrown at me by the universe. And I was like, hell, I can handle anything. I'm tough, it's no big deal, I'm not gonna listen. And this time, I had no choice but to listen. That hospital stay lasted almost 20 days. I had 2 IV towers. One was IV steroid, the other for blood transfusion. 11 days I was not allowed to eat because my colon was so perforated they could not stop the bleeding. I was a fucking wreck. My hair started falling out, my eyelashes started falling out, I wouldn't let anyone come see me. I was falling into a darkness, I was feeling hopeless. And all I could say to the doctor when he would come see me, "When can I get back on a plane? I need to get back to work, my team needs me." And he looked at me and said, "Girl, no, like, this is a chronic illness. This is with you for life." And I was like, no, this is an ulcer, I know it. Patch me up, let me go back on the plane. He's like, "Selina, you're not getting this. This is a lifelong chronic autoimmune disease. It's with you for life." And that sent me into a spiral that took me a while to get out of. You see, I was completely obsessed with working. I was a textbook workaholic. I worked 120 hours a week. I flew to 12 countries, 3 times a month, first class. I was at embassy parties, liaising with governments, and I had a team of 30 finance ninjas meeting me. And I felt important. My entire value structure was based on praise and power and money. And the weeks and the months that followed when I left the hospital, I was in complete denial, but I was falling into a darkness I'm so grateful to be out of. I just kept spending. You know, I wasn't working, but I could spend, and spend I did. I went through $50,000 of my personal savings in 90 days. On what? Oh, you know, Burberry bags and good wine and buying my friends shit, because I was trying to make myself feel happy. I remember standing in my closet. I had Louboutin goodness on this side and Burberry goodness over here and LV up here. And I looked around at these things and I was like, oh my gosh, please save me. I need to get back to work. Like, I'm dying. I don't know what to do. And all of a sudden, I had an awakening. Something had me hit my knees. And from that moment on, I became a student of conscious wealth. And so I started consuming all kinds of material on healthy forms of wealth, books, media, interviews. I started interviewing my mentors. I had such a good network, I started asking them. And I started living what they were saying. And I started building a set of principles, guiding principles, that I still live and breathe every day. And the principles that I've talked to Mark about and thousands of others who became my students and clients. And I would love to share them with you. So the first one is to honor your story. Like, I know we talk all the time about our story, but I want you to switch that lens and think about it with money. So this journey continues. Picture me little. I grew up in a tiny town in Saskatchewan, like literally 300 people live in this town. But I grew up like obsessed and fascinated by numbers and money. So I was like a hustler. Like, picture me, 6 years old, running around to little grannies. Their houses, knock, knock, knock. Hi, I have magazines and wrapping paper. Until they literally would hide from me behind the trees. And these are like Ukrainian babas. Like, you can see them behind the trees. I knew they were hiding from me, but I kept at it. I had 3 jobs all the time. I was babysitting and grass cutting and pumping gas and whatever I could get my hands on. And then at 12, I convinced my dad that I needed to be his bookkeeper. And so he hired me for free, child labor. And that's how I started loving being a chartered accountant. And at 16, I went to Europe, on one of those school trips. And I stood at the Eiffel Tower and I was like, oh, yeah, I like this. I'm gonna create a job and a life around this travel business. And so that became my internal voice. Work hard, make money, do things. And you see, at this time, I was a pretty big geek. Like, I loved school, and I was a good athlete. And in a tiny town, that makes you really unpopular. Like, really unpopular. Girls used to chase me, want to smash my head into the lockers. And I was bullied hard. And I did not have a good support network. So I threw myself more into money. And I realized the more I could earn, the more I was safe. And I realized much later that there was a story there, that I was not worthy and I was not lovable. But the story I told myself was that if I got money, I could do everything. And so that became my blueprint. Work hard, make money, get rich, and one day I'll be happy. And so, looking back, that one limiting belief nearly cost me my life. Like, I was in that hospital. If I didn't make it there, I was hours from death. One limiting belief. If that's not a freaking wake-up call, I don't know what is. The story we tell ourselves is everything. That story planted a seed in my mind when I was a child. And I woke up at 3 a.m. to attend board meetings in Dubai via video conference from that one limiting belief. It became my everything. And so for you, I want you to think about how money shows up in your life and really honor the stories there. Change the lens. We're not used to thinking about how money shows up. We're used to money being an external thing. We acquire, we buy. No, come back. Come back into yourself and start paying attention to the beliefs that are no longer serving you, because we need to eradicate them, because we don't want you to end up like me. That leads us to start thinking about things like, how did we grow up? What kind of wording did our parents say about money? Did they say rich people suck? That we can't afford that you don't deserve it? Did they lie to you about what rich people said? All of that implants in our subconscious and plays out into adulthood. And we know that we don't learn a lot of things about money in school, so we're not processing these types of things appropriately. So start paying attention in your day-to-day how money shows up and what old stories you tell yourself that you need to change. Because even if you're like, well, I'm not gonna die because of money, maybe you will. What limiting belief is making you make every single decision? Is it keeping you in a job you dislike? Is it making you really unhappy with the spouse you're currently with and you're staying because you're scared? Money is a tool, and it lives inside of you. Get to know it and know it well. Ask yourself questions when beliefs pop up. The second guiding principle I want to share with you is to really feel. And I know we're all good at feeling in this room, but I want you to start paying attention to feeling as it relates to money. Normally, we've been taught that money shows up in numbers in our life. And I call bullshit on that one, because money is everything behind the numbers. You know, when I was traveling for work, I was obsessed with working, and I would go to the airport, like at Heathrow, or maybe in Dubai, and I would look at the Burberry stores in the airport, and I'd say, oh, I've been working hard. I deserve a bag. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this gorgeous bag. $3,000, I'm happy for 2 days, amazing. Put it in the closet, look at it, it's beautiful. Still empty. That's what it was really about. I wasn't allowing myself to feel what was going on. I was numbing my emotional pain with temporary purchases. And if you would have told me that then, I would never ever imagined it. But it's true. Think about your own vulnerability. Think about your own feelings and how they show up for you. Consider what happens to you when you're feeling overwhelmed by money. My mentor, Gabrielle Bernstein, says that we can heal a feeling by feeling it for 90 seconds. And healing is the application of love to the places that hurt. And how many of us feel hurt by money? Everyone. Start paying attention to how shame shows up in your life, how it makes you feel when you're buying something, because there's an underlying story there that we need to alter and change. The third guiding principle that I want to talk about is be you. And that sounds so obvious, but in money, we chase around what's actually inherently important to us. We are surrounded by a society with noise of money. The media is bombarding us on what we need to buy. We've grown up with family stories about what is appropriate. We know we have to find a partner, get married, get a house. Is that really what you want to do? Start considering the things that you inherently value. Inherently value, like if I said you could not have them, you would be entirely upset. Make a list of 5 things small and 5 large things, and then have that become your vetting decision on how you want to spend. When you align your spending to what you inherently value, love appears. And that's really what money is about, is love. Mark and I talk about this all the time. Money is just getting you back to a place of harmony and love. That's what a good relationship does. And when you have a good relationship to money of your own understanding, you are not worried about what everyone else is doing about their money, including your spouse. How many of us have had situations where, and these are real client examples, I have got a spouse who typically has $500 in their wallet. And they're not going to pay attention if I steal 200 of it. And I'm going to lie to myself and pretend that wasn't actually a thing because, well, it's kind of my money too. But I feel a little icky about it. Or I got my credit card statement and I know I'm probably paying like $500 to $600 of interest, but I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to lie to myself. No. Stand in your truth. Be vulnerable and start spending to the things that inherently matter to you. I still love my Burberry bags, but I'm not doing it from a place of fear. And I'm not doing it to try to cover up what's happening in my life. I do it now because I love it. And that's what I want for you, is spending on things you love, and that becomes a decision. So the last guiding principle I want to talk about is building a money practice. I know everyone in this room is amazing at practice. We practice our yoga, we practice being good parents, being good people. Be good to yourself when it comes to money. Build a practice that feels inherently good to you about it. Think about it. Athletes have a practice around their sport. Humans can have a practice around money. And it should really come from 3 places: mind, heart, and soul. For me, that is everything. I believe there's a flow to money, and it creates infinity when we consider these 3 points. Infinity of mind, heart, and soul. And this practice becomes deeply personal, inherent to you. When I started living and breathing this practice, my life changed. This captures all of the guiding principles and brings it into a tangible daily action point. 10 minutes, that's all you need. After thousands of clients, I can say that is the sweet spot. You need to spend 10 minutes a day building a money practice with these 3 points. Some examples might be for mind. And again, this is deeply personal, so do whatever you feel called. But a mindfulness one might be, oh, I really want a vacation, so I'm going to build an automatic savings plan around it so that in 24 months, my $10,000 vacation is fully funded, and I'm feeling good about that. Mind. And each day you can check in on how that goal is doing or if you need to change it. Heart. Value. Do I still actually want to go on vacation? Yeah, I still love vacation. Every decision you make upon spending, vet it against your heart and that values list. And make sure you're spending in accordance to things that you love and deeply love, because that's what life and money is about. It's with us at every moment. And if we start not thinking about it from a shameful place, but a loving place, we can transform it. And then in your gut. And I tell you, there is no joke, universe, as to why I got a disease in my gut. Because I never listened to mine. You need to listen to yours too. And this is my loving reminder to say, breathe. Breathe through those feelings. Build a set of practices around spirit, universe, that will help you. Practice the 90 seconds to transform it. Do that daily. Build in mantras. Start changing those old stories and old beliefs. These guiding principles have worked for thousands of humans, and I know it can work for you. And money is in everything. And I want to remind you that, just as we've all been hearing, money is just shifting your lens. And when you come internally and start understanding that it's deeply part of you, you can transform. And that's what I didn't understand. I was going to take over the world and I was doing it, but I was empty. So the universe needed to kick my ass to remind me that it's all within. And now I can stand before you saying that I live principles that keep me grounded in love. And now I have a daughter I never expected to have. She is my miracle. And I live based on inherent money happiness. And you can do it too. If you're someone who says, no, money, I'm not going to worry about it, choose today. Build a practice that can help you transform. You can create a relationship to money of your own understanding. It's all about you. Thank you.